Hey, Michelle, welcome back. It's good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I needed to kind of get my feet wet all over again with this podcast thing because I kind of stopped for a little bit. When it starts getting warmer out, you just want to be outside more. And well, I have three kids, so
Yeah.
if I don't take them on vacation, I get yelled at. So we kind of did a little bit of that, and but I slept in my bed maybe twice in 2 weeks, which was
Wow.
yeah. So when you're 41, sciatica really kind of kicks in, and
Oh my gosh, I totally understand. That's so sad.
do
I
you,
I would rather be in my bed too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Or they need to have like a filter for posturepedic beds when you book a VRBO.
Right?
Yeah.
I know
Uh,
we have a camping trailer and I'm like, that bed's miserable. I don't even want to go camping.
what
I
kind
mean,
of what kind of trailer do you have?
it's just like a little, I don't
Like
know,
a
it's a
pop
small
up?
one. Yeah, it's pop-up ends. It's
Oh, okay.
hard and then has pop-up ends. Yeah.
That's
But the
cool.
bed's not comfortable, so
Is it hard to drive?
I don't know. I don't drive it. My husband does.
That's what I always worry about. Like when we're traveling, I always see those guys that are lugging around, those 20 footers or however long they are, and I'm always like, get away from that thing because it's always like swaying around, and I'm just like, yeah, I probably would need to take a Xanax if I had to drive one of those. But anyway, I
I
wanted to
mean,
get. Go ahead.
oh, sorry. I'll tell you this. Like every time we have to back it into a camping spot, we almost get divorced. Like
Oh, I'm
literally
sure.
every time. It's just
Oh,
like,
it's probably like trying to
oh,
it's probably like trying to launch a boat. I would say, right? Yeah.
probably. Yep.
Yeah.
It's not good. So yeah.
So Michelle, it's like the second half of the year now, and it's my favorite part of the year. I felt like the first 6 months this year, from a creative standpoint, since we have about 8 years under our belt, it's getting more and more difficult to come up with stuff
Yeah.
that's not specifically geared towards a holiday, like a big holiday like Christmas
Right.
or Halloween or something. So what new products or trends are you excited about, and what have you added to the store recently for the upcoming, like, well, obviously we've got Christmas in July going on right now, then comes fall, back to school, and then of course Christmas.
Okay, well, a couple new and exciting things at 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop. The first thing is our subscription boxes, and I think we're on month 3 or 4 with those.
Hmm.
But what we've done is we've chosen a fun color palette for the month, and then we choose specialty papers to coordinate with it. So we've got foil and glitter, and everything coordinates. So our customers are loving it because they can just open up the box and start creating, and everything is perfectly coordinated. And then the other fun thing is we also have a bonus SVG class in there if people want to. Not all of our customers have Cricut or Silhouette machines, but if you do, there's a bonus there for you. So,
So they get content with it, you mean, like
hmm
SVG files? That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's not really included in the price. It's just kind of a freebie bonus that we're doing. But the cost of the box, you get free shipping and then all the paper that coordinates. So
Nice.
it's been super popular.
Yeah, you were saying. That's awesome. I'm glad because I remember it wasn't even that long ago when I got a call from Dan that he was just starting out. Now you guys you're like, I see your name pop up in the groups like
Yeah,
all the time. So I mean that's a
yeah.
testament to your work too. Obviously, your marketing.
Thank you.
But that's cool. So yeah, guys,
Yeah.
check out their mystery boxes. What was in the last one?
So this month it's called Grandma's Attic. I know last
Okay,
time we
we
talked
did.
about granny core.
We
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. So the box is all themed around kind of what you'd find in your grandma's attic, and it's pale pink and cream and kind of that vintage green. And then there's lots of gold sparkle because grandma has lots of gold sparkly costume jewelry.
Cool. So, and what
Yeah.
how much comes in the box? Like, what do you get?
So you get, I believe there's 17 sheets of 12 by 12, and then there's 3 or 4 mystery items every month. And we don't disclose what those are
Mm.
before.
Okay.
It's a secret and only the subscribers know, and they coordinate as well. So
So it's not necessarily paper. It could be like embellishments and stuff, or
it's mostly paper.
mostly paper. Okay.
This month, one of this mystery items is not specifically paper. It's more of
That's
an
fun.
embellishment. So
Yeah, there's something
yeah,
to that. I don't see. I wish we could do a mystery box, but I guess I'd have to send out floppy disks or something.
right. Yeah.
So what else is new in the store?
And then the other fun thing we just got in is Encore holographic cardstock. And we already had holographic, but this is some new patterns. There's some really fun stars in there. There's like a bigger star and a smaller star.
Let me open that up for them to see. Okay. I feel like we've used some of this in some of our projects lately.
Yeah. Ice chips, that one's new too. Is that what it's called? No, I can't remember. Oh, shattered glass. It's called broken glass, I think, but it looks like ice chips.
Yeah. Where did we use it? Well, we used I'm looking at the screenshot and I feel like we used the second one from the left on our boombox maybe.
Oh, yeah. That is it the dot
Oh,
one?
yeah. Well, yeah, it looked like, well, is it a dot or is it a square? It's like an optical illusion. I don't know. But yeah, no, they're really cool. Diana, my engineer, really gravitates towards them when we need, to add a little bit of
Yeah.
bling that's like not traditional, like glitter or whatever. So,
Right.
yeah, those are cool. What else you got?
Yeah. Okay, and then a couple little sneak peeks, which are not on the site yet. They're actually not even in the warehouse yet. They've just been ordered. So we are getting glow paper, and this has just been
Mm,
requested like crazy. So it's highly saturated color already. I mean, you can see from the photo that that's the color that it is. It's really bright neons,
yeah.
and then it glows under black light too. So it's cool
as,
stuff.
as
Yeah.
as I'm wearing my Grateful Dead shirt, the Astro Bright colors that we also just used,
Hmm.
they're pretty. They're pretty. They almost have kind of a black light sort of look to them, but these actually
Yeah.
have the photo whatever, isn't it? What do they call it? There's like a certain.
I don't
They're
know.
photoluminous. I think that's the term,
Okay, that's
photoluminous.
the term. Okay.
Okay,
Good
yeah.
to know.
I think that's what it is. I have a.
Yeah, and if you have them side by side, I wish I had a piece of Astro Brights out, but if you have them side by side, the glow is so much more vibrant.
Okay.
So,
Which
yeah.
I would assume that it would be.
Yeah.
Oh man, that makes me. Do you remember? I'm not gonna be rude and ask your age. But when I was
I'm
go.
47. I just
Uh,
had a birthday.
okay, so well, happy belated birthday.
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm 41, and I remember in basically high school, I'd say. Do you remember those posters that they had, the glow in the dark ones and the black light, where the
Yes.
black one was kind of like a felt?
Yep.
Mm.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking it'd be kind of cool to do something with those papers in the form of like a shadow box, huh? Too bad.
Okay. Well,
Uh-oh.
maybe I shouldn't. Okay, I might. You might have to edit this out
Okay.
because I have to ask Dan. But one another new thing that's coming later in the year is velvet paper,
Oh. Okay.
and it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So what's the application for that?
it cuts on a Cricut, and just you could use it. I know there's a lot of ladies that have requested it for teddy bear type stuff.
Okay. Oh, so
Um,
just kind of like to have that
yeah, it's
that texture.
yeah. So for
Okay.
card making and for like shaker cards, it's velvet paper. So
Okay.
yeah, it just adds cool. I mean, think about some of your gift boxes with
Yeah.
like velvet paper, made in velvet
Right.
paper. Yeah,
Hmm. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like my gears are spinning trying to think about where and how to use it. I'm not saying I don't know how to use it. I'm just like, just really kind
Yeah.
of brainstorming. What about, do you guys have leather paper? Like faux leather?
We have leather like, and it's not like if you touch it, you know it's not leather, but it looks
Looks
like
like it? Yeah,
leather.
that's all. That's what
Yeah,
I was asking. Yeah.
yeah. And we
Okay.
have like brown, white, and black, I think are the three colors. And
Gotcha.
that's called leather like. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you sent me some other screenshots here. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, let me look
I
at
have one
these.
more new thing.
Yeah,
There's
go
one
ahead.
more. Okay, we just ordered a whole bunch of new foil paper.
Oh,
So we'll have new colors and we'll have some new iridescent shimmer foil paper, which is really pretty.
okay.
And I don't have photos of that yet, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
going to be awesome.
That's
So,
cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Is it like mirror foil or textured or both?
There's mirror, there's matte, and then the iridescent line.
Okay, cool.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
we tend to be gravitating towards the non-foil stuff, but maybe I don't know. You know what? There's some of that old school foil that just like very easily gets blemished when you touch it with
Yeah.
fingerprints and that.
Yeah.
Does your line do that? The mirror
Um,
foil?
the mirror one does a little
A
bit,
little bit.
but
Okay.
yeah, it's really hard to photograph them too, I'm sure for
Yes.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly another reason why I'm like
Yeah.
when we're having our meetings and discussing new products, I'm just like if we could use the textured stuff or the matte stuff, I'd prefer it. But yeah, it is. It's a
Yeah.
pain. But well, yeah, I should do a video on photographing foil. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
No,
I know.
you literally have to be a physicist to do it because you have to figure out where and how to place your bounce card to hit it so it, for one, doesn't blow it out, and two, actually hits the surface. There's equations. It's crazy. But
You
yeah,
should see me trying to do some of these. I'm like also doing acrobats because I'm trying to like hold my camera as far away so that I'm not in the reflection. And
right.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
well,
just like,
and you're shooting full sheets. Yeah,
yeah, and I'm trying to like get the 12 by 12 aspect, but not get myself in it, not get my phone in it, get the light right. I mean, it's a
I,
chore. So,
exactly. Yeah. No, I try to avoid it. You can ask anybody that's worked with me at Dreaming Tree for the last 6, 7 years. They'll tell you, they'll be like, yeah, he does not like mirror foil. I mean, there's, if we use it as like an offset or a shadow layer or something, it's cool.
right.
But if it's prominent, ugh, I just like,
Well, the matte stuff will be just for you. You'll love the matte because you
okay.
don't have to worry about that. So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
I always tell everyone in my family, if I'm doing anything with lights or mirror foil, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna need extra time. We're probably gonna be behind. It's not gonna get done. So some other stuff you wanted to show me kind of ties into and transitions into what I wanted to talk about was the stuff that's coming out for, well, my favorite holidays, my favorite time of the year, fall, Halloween. Is there one specific that I'm looking at a Paige Evans release right now? Can I bring that up? You want to
Yeah.
talk about that?
hmm
Okay. So here, let me bring that up.
So American Crafts just released their fall lines, and there's a Halloween line from Paige Evans, and then there's several Christmas lines.
Okay.
And one of the things I noticed about the Paige Evans Halloween line is the non-traditional colors. It's like pink.
Yeah, I see the pink in there. That is a
Yeah.
little. There, have you, not to get off track or anything, but have you been to any of the craft stores or any retail
Yes.
shops lately? Is that
Yeah.
are they doing pink
Yeah.
too?
Michael's has almost an entire pink Halloween line, and Joanne has, it's a mix. They had some, but they're definitely pink in there
Really?
and that pale purple. Yeah, so I guess we're still, that's been, I think this is like the third year of Halloween that we're seeing that. So,
That's interesting. I wonder if there's like a crafty G7 committee that gets together and makes all these decisions and decides that. I'm more traditional when it comes to it, but I mean, I'm not against it. If it gets people, excited, then that's cool.
yeah,
I mean, it works. I'm looking at
yeah,
it, and I don't mind it. But she
I love
obviously,
it.
yeah. Well, she
Yeah,
obviously has stuff in there that still sticks with tradition too.
yeah,
So you get a little bit of both. That's cool.
yeah,
Okay, so I've got that up, and
yeah.
so this is her. What is this 12 by 12 pattern paper? She's got a 6 by 8 pack, some washi tape, foam stickers. Cool. Let's see.
Yeah,
We'll see what else we got here.
all kinds of cute stuff. And then moving on to Christmas.
Yeah. Which one?
Again,
Which one do you want me to
oh,
bring up?
let's do the crepe paper.
Crepe paper. Okay. And AC owns them too, right?
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Who do we have here? Yep, I got it. Holly Jolly Holiday.
yep, I'll start over then.
No, that's fine. You could.
So,
That's fine.
okay. So moving on to Christmas,
Yeah.
we've got crepe paper. So crepe paper, I don't know if you know this, but they went away for a while. It was like just not being made.
Yeah.
And it's back now, which I love the crepe paper vibe. So I'm so excited. But you'll notice on this one too, you've got some pink in there for
I
Christmas.
see that. I see that on the
Yeah.
Santa print, a little bit on the houses.
Yeah. So
Uh,
pink and teal and that vintagey red is kind of the Christmas vibe, I guess. And I did, there's another one we'll talk about later, Simple Stories, and they've got the same thing, that teal and pink in with the red. So apparently that's the Christmas trend.
Yeah, I think I don't mind it at all. I think that, the stereotypical greens and reds, you get so used to it that it's just nice to see something
Yeah.
fresh. I don't mind it at all. It
Yeah.
looks great. It works, as
It's
far as
fun.
like as far as color theory goes. It's not like clashing or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Now that one, let me bring that one. There it is. Crepe paper. Yeah. What's the other brand that sounds similar to that? Who is that? That other their pattern paper has like a really unique texture to it. Cartabella. That's it.
Oh, Cardabella. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when you said crepe paper, my brain immediately thought it was Cartabella. Okay. Yeah. So what you said, that crepe paper was your jam. What do you like about it?
I
Just
just
the
think it's so cute and whimsical and the vintage vibe. And they always have really cool color combinations.
okay.
I don't know. I love it. I think this is probably her third or fourth year. Okay, I'm totally guessing. I've known about it for about 4 years that she's had an American Crafts line. So
Okay.
she's been around for a while, and she's been in the industry for a while too. She's kind of a mixed media artist. So
Okay.
yeah. But hers, you can see like it's traditional colors, although she's got black in there.
Hmm.
But if you notice, like she's got mushrooms in there. So like kind of non-traditional icons for holidays.
I think that, well, maybe in our industry they're non-traditional, but mushrooms have been like really big. Like even when I go to when I go prop shopping at my prop shop, what is it called? Home Goods. There's tons of mushrooms now. It's like everywhere. So I'm not surprised. I'm
Yes.
not surprised she added that in. But
Yeah,
yeah,
mushrooms are a thing. Yep.
yeah. No, mushrooms have
You
what?
should make some mushroom house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we did, didn't we?
Oh, I don't know.
Wait a minute.
I don't
No.
remember them.
Oh, maybe that was with my old company.
And then Simple Stories, Christmas.
Okay. And this is Simple Stories.
Yeah, so this is Simple Stories, which they usually have kind of a vintage vibe, but you can again see pink and teal. That the little mouse is so cute, but the whole color scheme is that same kind of color palette. So I think we'll probably be seeing that when Christmas starts to come out in the craft stores. I bet you we'll be seeing that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so
It is
this
interesting. Oh, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
it's okay. No, so pink has infiltrated both
Yeah.
Halloween and Christmas. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. What were you going to say? What's interesting?
It's so interesting now that you mentioned that. I wonder, I would love to know who does decide these colors. My daughter is in fashion school, and she said that the trend forecasting for fashion is like 18 months ahead. Like they've already decided for a year and a half from now what the colors are going to be.
Yeah, so I mean, well, uh Pantone, have you heard of that? Right. They're like
Yeah.
notorious in the color world. I know that they have, I mean, they announce like a color of the year every
hmm
year, right?
Yep.
I bet a simple Google search would probably tell us who decides all this stuff.
Yeah.
What are the people buying right now on your site? Like what are people gravitating towards? That was one question that I wrote down. Or have you seen any like shifts in customers like preferences and demands lately?
Hmm. Not really. Right now we're still selling some neons, and neons aren't my favorite, and so that always surprises me, but our customers really just love them. So I think I just personally don't know how to use them or don't use them right. And I
Yeah.
know you just did a neon line, like it's really popular.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're doing something from the 80s, you obviously need something that just is really just in your face.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else you do with it unless you're,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the request we got in for that glow paper was because people are doing glow parties. So
Oh,
that's like a theme for birthday parties for kids, where they'll have like a black light party. And so our
right.
crafters wanted stuff that they could use to make cake toppers and invitations and stuff like that for the glow parties.
And how
So,
long has that been going on as far as people wanting that?
well, last year we were getting some requests, but it's really picked up this
It
year.
has.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And so what's the most popular thing that you guys are selling right now?
Um, for several years in a row, it's been gold glitter cardstock.
Gold glitter cardstock.
It's
Okay.
always our best seller. And then another surprising year round, I mean, trending towards the fall, but the pumpkin colored vellum. Like we just sell a ton of that too. So
Hmm.
yeah,
I wonder
it's
what I
interesting.
wonder what they're doing with it. Um, I know what I would do with it, but
Yeah.
anyway, I think that's a conversation for another time. So while we're on the topic of paper, actually you brought up something that I thought would be interesting to talk about because it seems to come up, especially in our group, or people will email and write us about it. Paper weight. Now, one thing I noticed about your Astro Brights that we just got recently, they were a little thinner than
Hmm.
usual. They were about 65 pound, I think,
Yes.
right?
Yep. Yep. That's
Yeah.
right.
And for us, when we're creating things, as long as the foundation for a three-dimensional project or even a card is 80 pound, I'm cool with it. I don't know that I would use the Astro Bright as kind of a structural piece for a 3D
Right.
thing, but as far as overlays go, it worked beautifully and it was fine, very easy to work with. But so that's kind of in my world the importance of choosing the right weight for cardstock. But can you kind of go deeper with that? Like, can you offer them some advice as to when and why to purchase a certain weight of cardstock?
Yeah, absolutely. It honestly really depends on what you're making.
Mm-hmm.
So the heavyweight cardstock, and we classify that as anything 100 pounds or heavier. So some of the paper lines included in that would be like Basil Card Shop, My Colors Heavyweight, and then yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
Okay, so the heavyweight cardstock is important, like you said, if you're making dimensionals. I actually love it for boxes
Yeah.
because once you score it and fold it, you get really crisp, nice edges. So if you take a piece of 80-pound cardstock and score it, the score goes a lot deeper into that 80 pound
Right.
versus 100. It's just like a little bit thicker. So the score isn't quite as deep. So when you fold it, it's not, it's hard to explain, but it will, you'll get nice crisp if you score first and then fold, you get nice crisp folds.
On the
And for
80 or
things
100?
on the 100,
Okay.
yeah. So things like a box, I wouldn't use it for like a shaped box where you needed to like curve
Curve.
something because it doesn't curve. But for a like a box or things that are like rectangles and boxes, I really love it because if you're making a party favor and you're sticking a bunch of candy in there or something where you need it to be able to hold a little weight, it's really
Mm-hmm.
great for that.
Even if
So
you train the 100 pound, you can't. It's difficult to curve. I
it is because it's unless it's scored, it starts to crack. I mean,
Oh,
like if it's a gradual curve, yes.
right.
But if you're doing like I'm trying to think of an example, but like if you're making something that's circular,
Yeah.
um,
Like a handle
it's
on a basket or something.
yeah, like if
Yeah.
you're folding it into
Okay.
a curve,
Okay.
it's because it's so heavy, it could pop your glue because it's just, it doesn't want to do that.
Right.
It doesn't want to be circular.
We typically we don't use I don't think we use very much 100 pound.
Yeah.
But you know what? Now that you mention the fact that because sometimes when we create boxes and we use 80 pound, if even if they're simple, we tend to add a panel over it just to thicken it up, obviously
Hmm.
for aesthetic purposes too, but also to make it a little stronger. And there's also times where we'll actually add pieces inside to thicken it up even more. So
Right.
I wonder if maybe just going to the 100 pound might be a solution to save some paper. It is slightly more expensive, the 100 pound stuff, right?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're a silhouette girl, right?
I have both. I primarily use my Cricut
You've been
now.
using your Cricut? Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
How's your see the scoring on with mine? Like, I feel like it doesn't do such a great job. Which tool do you use? Do you use the stylus or the scoring tool?
I have a scoring tool.
Okay, so do I.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's
Yeah.
just I
Interesting.
feel like it's kind of like weak sometimes where
Hmm.
you almost well you can see it, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, on the 100 pound, so when you score, the side that you score on, you want, so if you have a piece of paper and you score it, you want to
Hmm.
fold against the score. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
you know this, but
Yeah.
maybe your
Yeah.
customers don't. Like
Okay.
that helps if you fold away because you've basically like weakened the top, and so that's where you want to fold it and like continue the
Right.
weakening by folding it that way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Maybe they've done their due diligence and they've done their testing. My biggest complaint would be to, allow us to have, I guess, more fine control over the pressure. But
yeah,
but at the same time, I have a feeling that if they did, it probably would just cut the paper and or
yeah,
over score it. I don't know. Maybe they have it figured
yeah.
out, and I'm just complaining over nothing. I don't know, but
I know what you mean. The
yeah.
other thing I really like heavyweight for is card bases. I make a lot of cards. And
Okay.
so, when you like really layer your card up, and if it's a top folding card that opens like this, if you
Right.
set it, it'll just like sag.
Sure. Okay.
So I really like it just to use it on my card base because then you
Right.
can layer things up and it will still stand up.
Now,
So,
how does the color selection compare between, let's say, an 80-pound Encore and, the heavyweights?
there's definitely less colors, but there's a lot of
There's a
colors.
lot.
I don't,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but I think there's like I would say 40-ish colors in the card
40.
shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So,
right. Well, I mean,
yeah.
yeah, this podcast is, it's going to end up being something that I'm going to listen to and actually be like, hey, I need to implement this into what we're doing. Just, we try to kind of stick to a specific brand just so that there's less confusion. It's easier to get what you need,
Right.
and, anyway. But yeah, we got to play around with that a little bit because I know people are concerned about the cost of things. And sometimes when we've got, a project that requires additional layers, it could kind of start getting expensive
Right.
as you add more layers to kind of make that structure more structurally sound, like the boombox we just did. If we were to find a nice turquoise color in a heavyweight for the actual, bulk of it,
Yeah.
maybe we wouldn't have had to have as many layers. I don't know. We'll have to play with that. Anyway, I'm glad you brought
Well,
that
and
up.
the heavyweight is smooth too, so I know you typically
Oh,
like textured. Yeah. So, but
ugh.
something like using it for a base for the boom box, it could be smooth and then add
True.
the textured.
True. Why do I hate smooth
I
paper
don't
so
know.
much?
You're a textured paper snob, which is fine. Everybody has a preference. So I like textured too,
Yeah.
honestly. But yeah.
I'm just
By the
gonna.
way, let's talk about that boom box.
Yeah.
That was so cool. I can't believe you got the knob to turn. That's why I was just like
Well,
blown away.
we got it to turn, and then one of our customers actually made it so that as you turned it, the little I think she even added like an FM tuner to it. Like our customers are like wild.
What?
I'll see if I can pull it up while we're chatting here. But yeah,
Wow.
she made it actually go back and forth, and I'm even sitting here being like, how does she do that?
But
No, they do some wacky things, but
yeah, I loved it.
yeah, we're working on some Christmas stuff right now. I'm excited to do that. So one thing that our customers, well, maybe it's not even our customers, but we have a lot of customers from the UK, overseas, where the paper standard isn't done in pounds; it's done in GSM. So
Yeah.
can you drop some knowledge and tell our customers what that even is and how it relates to pounds?
So I think you'd really only know this if you're a paper nerd. So if
Okay.
you know the answer to this, you can consider yourself a paper nerd. And honestly, I really wish that the United States would go to GSM because it's
Really?
so much clearer. Yeah, let me
Okay.
tell you why. Pound. So we typically, when on our website, and I know a lot of times in like the scrapbooking industry, when we talk about pounds, we're talking about cover weight, but there's also text weight. So like 85 text weight is not the same as 85 cover weight.
Hmm.
So you have to specify, like in the actual paper world, like a paper mill, there's all these different gradients of pounds. There's pounds in cover weight, pounds in text weight. I mean, it's just
So
Very confusing.
what's cover weight and what's text weight? We're going
Cover weight,
we're going full nerd
yeah,
here. Let's just do it.
well, cover weight, text weight is usually like typically your thinner paper. So like copier paper is a text weight paper.
Okay.
For like a typical piece of copier paper, that's typically expressed in pounds, text pounds.
Okay.
So it's for lighter weight papers, but it doesn't directly correlate with like what a cover weight paper would be. It's not like you can say like 35-pound text weight is slightly less heavy than a 36-pound cover weight. There's like a gap there. It's very confusing.
Okay. So
So you don't need,
we use cover weight.
yeah. So
Okay.
on 12 by 12 cardstock shop and in the scrapbooking industry, we're always talking cover weight.
Okay.
But if you try to talk to like a paper mill about pounds, they're going to ask you all these
You have to
questions.
specify.
Yeah,
Okay. Makes
right.
sense. Okay.
So the pounds is calculated that it's based on like the average pounds of 500 sheets of that paper,
Oh.
like at a certain dimension
Okay.
is kind of how they calculate it. And then GSM is grams per square meter, and that is actually like a square meter what the grams are. So that's so much clearer than like taking these obscure things and like it's like the pounds are like typical size of that paper broken out to like how many 500 sheets are. It's super unclear.
Right. Okay.
So let me
Yeah.
add one more thing to that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We actually list both pounds and GSM on our paper
Do
listings
you?
so that you have what you need. You
Do
can
you
shop
really?
either way. We
You
do.
guys are amazing. I did not even notice that. Do you really? Like
Yeah,
so
you'll
it
find that in the
so if I click on one of your card stocks, it will list it there. Does that include like pearlescence and glitter and all that too?
most of
Or
them we do have it for most of them.
let's see here. 78-pound cover weight 20. Yeah, you do. Amazing. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Well, I mean, we can always use your site as a reference for that too. Awesome. So one other thing too, what I wanted to ask you about was, well, because you guys obviously store a ton of paper, right? Do you guys have
Yeah.
to, is it climate controlled? It has to be, right?
It is. Yep.
Yeah. So what? There's times where like I'm online and a customer will be like, oh, I've been trying to cut this paper and it's just not cutting. Or, something's wonky. It worked. I swear, like when I did this 6 months ago, it worked and now it's just not working. Something happening to my paper. So humidity obviously is like,
Yes.
that's it, right? Aside from leaving your paper in direct light, like sunlight and torching it, which I don't think many people do unless you have a window or something and it's hitting it. I mean, it'll fade the color, but
Right.
aside from, and we'll talk about humidity in a second, but what other things could potentially alter the way that paper cuts?
Well, so the light will, like you said,
Fade
fade it,
it.
but extreme heat also, like some of the papers that are created with by like stretching a glitter film, like the foils and the holographics, they actually stretch like a film over the paper. And
Okay.
so heat, if the paper's not, of a certain thickness, heat will make your paper start to curl as well. So,
Oh,
which doesn't, when you're like cutting something out and gluing it as a layer, it's not that big of a deal because you're gluing it down, it'll stay
right,
flat. But if you're a scrapbooker and you've got paper that's like curling on the edges in your albums, like it's just, you
right.
want to keep, like you said, you want to keep it temperature. You want to keep it out of the light. You want to keep it out of the humidity, and you want to keep it out of the heat,
Okay.
extreme heat.
So humidity, obviously, when you talk about humidity and dew point and all that stuff, it's just the amount of moisture in the air. And I mean, if your paper is absorbing a ton of moisture, I haven't tested this myself, but one can assume that it's going to impact how things cut, right?
Absolutely. So I call it mushy paper. So
Mushy.
some people, yeah. So
Yeah.
people who live in like humid areas, if it,
Florida,
yeah,
especially, right? Okay.
yeah, it's a real problem. And what you'll see is when your blade kind of hits the paper, it will kind of drag it and mush it, like
Mm.
as it's doing the corners. And we actually had a customer that complained about Encore, which Encore, like we've never had anyone complain about how Encore cuts because everyone's always so just blown away.
Yeah.
So we were like, what is going on? And as we started digging into it, she lived in a really humid area and her paper had sat on her porch in a rainstorm.
Oh.
And she brought it in and started to try to cut it immediately. And so once we identified that, she just, she didn't even, I don't even, she didn't have to lay it out. It's not like it was like dumped water on, but
Right.
she just brought it into her house and let it cool off and like, dry out a little and then it was fine. But it was
Yeah.
really interesting. It can make a big difference.
Yeah. So I guess here in the Chicagoland area, our summers especially, we get tons of moisture off the lake. But as long as you're running your AC, when air conditioning works through essentially removing moisture from the air. So basements might be a problem though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basements. Yep. Or just
Yeah.
if the weather's like I said, a rainstorm, and it had been outside on the porch. So
Right. Right. So anyone that's having any problems with paper mush or paper being mushy when you cut it, either run your air and obviously you want to maybe, create some separation between the paper that's, giving you problems just to kind of let the air circulate a little bit, but run your air. And worst case scenario, get a dehumidifier for a little bit, right?
yeah.
I mean, I have one in my basement just in case, just maybe bring it upstairs in your craft room and let it run for a couple days, and that could be a
Yeah.
solution. So no, that's interesting because I always wondered about that. And so your warehouse is it's probably cold in there, or at least relatively cold, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They're
Yeah,
air conditioned and heated. So we keep it just, standard temperature year round. So
yeah.
yeah.
And do you guys actually monitor the humidity level in there?
No, we don't.
No.
Uh-uh.
Okay.
But it's in Utah, which is a very dry
Super dry,
climate.
right? Okay,
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's
maybe.
not really a problem.
Yeah, maybe that's why all the paper stuff's in Utah. Huh. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We
all right.
also, the warehouse has very few windows too for that very reason, just to
Oh, that's
keep
good.
things out of
Yeah.
the light.
So
So,
nothing gets
yeah.
faded. Yeah, because I
Hmm.
noticed with the paper behind me here, some of it. I mean, I there's some paper back there that I haven't used in a long time, and I noticed that when I take like the top layer off, and there's one little sheet sticking off the bottom. That little area that was sticking off is completely a different color.
I have that
So
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's another thing too. We could just briefly touch on is, you guys offer swatches. I have a swatch, and when I compare my swatch to the new papers that I got from you guys, everything's usually spot on. But I'm still trying to work through my American Crafts paper that we have because
Hmm.
I'm not just going to use it for kindling and to start fires. So
Right.
we're going to actually utilize it. But when I'm using that and I'm trying to color match with my swatch, it is way off. Not like crazy off, but
Yeah.
sometimes you have to do a double take and be like, is this the right color? So you know.
It's interesting that you asked that because we actually had a meeting yesterday with a paper manufacturer,
Uh huh.
and it's actually industry standard that there can be a 10% variance in
Oh,
color. Just,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, so that's
So
good.
it's, yeah. So, but I mean, we do quality control before it's shipped over here to make sure that, I mean, there may be slight variations, but we really do quality control to keep it within even less of a tolerance than that. So,
So that 10% figure, there has to be some scientific element to it. Like maybe the typical eye can't differentiate between the two by just unless you are like super putting it under a microscope and like
right.
really looking at it. Okay, well that's good to know
Yeah.
because sometimes I'm pulling papers for a project, and I'm like, oh, it's not spot on, but it's well within the 10%.
Yeah.
So you just go with it. It should be fine.
It's really interesting. Do you want to do another paper nerd segment?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So another paper nerd thing is the difference between white core, solid core, and color core. Did you know there was a color core and a solid core difference?
No, actually, no,
Yeah.
no.
So white core is obviously white. It has a white inside.
Right.
So it'll have color on both sides. And when you tear it,
Yep.
then it's white inside. That's created by basically like they take a white paper and they put color on colored sheets and on either end and
Hmm.
press it together. Then we have solid core where they take a white sheet of cardstock and they take white pulp, white paper pulp, and they
Right.
dye the pulp. So the pulp
Completely.
is dyed
And then
completely.
it's formed,
And
right? Yep.
right, and then it's formed. And that would be solid core. And then color core is where they take a completed sheet of white cardstock and dye it at that point. So when you tear it, it still
Oh.
has the same color inside, but it's like slightly off. So Encore and American Crafts
Oh, okay. I
are
see.
color core. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you notice, if you tear it, it's just slightly a lighter bit lighter color
So the
inside. So
dye doesn't penetrate completely, is what you're saying?
right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's just dyed more heavily on top. So that's how the color variations can happen, is that it's just like the amount of dyes it's running through just
Sure.
isn't. Yeah.
Okay. But I
Yeah.
guess color core. Oh. See, we
You would
don't.
never notice a difference between, I mean,
Yeah.
solid core and color core, it's really not a
Right. So,
difference,
but
but
that's more manufacturing than it is artistic, though, right?
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I mean, I know that I've seen people in the past where they intentionally will tear things to give it,
Hmm.
that sort of look. But
Yeah.
I mean, we don't play with that very often, right? Because we've got precision cutting machines that
Right.
to avoid having to do any of that. But I guess you could see that there's an artistic element or potential
Right.
to having that. They used to have paper. Maybe they still have it where you could sand it. Do you guys
We
sell
sell
that?
that.
Okay,
Yeah,
they still have it. Okay,
yeah, it's
that's
coordination sandable, and the inside of it is like a much different color. So when you sand it, you're
right.
sanding off the top layer. It's cool stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.